Hello, gamers. How are we doing today? Hope y'all doing good. Today we are taking on a trip to beautiful Yuri heaven, and we're going to play a game called Blackberry Honey. And now that I've started streaming, my cat is going to be meowing. So let's hop onto the game. All right, I hope y'all can hear me okay. We're gonna start now. I haven't played this game before. I don't know the premise of it at all, so let's see what the tea is. Here it says, the night sky was dark. A few stars twinkled up above, just tiny pinpricks like spilt granules of sugar. The stars looked so small and far away, it tugged at something within the young woman's heart. Was this the same sky her family could see? Were these stars the same stars? Was this moon the same moon? She didn't know. She hadn't seen her family in so long. But she couldn't think about that now. If she did, she was sure she would cry, and she didn't want to do that. She refused. She'd always been stubborn. That was how she'd ended up in this mess. Okay. The girl had been riding in the back of a horse-drawn cab for 14 hours. Wow, from 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. Her legs, which had been cramped up in a space far too small for them for far too long, hurt. Oh, wow. Even as she stood there, doing nothing more strenuous than simply existing, her body trembled. Damn. It felt like a mischievous imp was inserting needles into the backs of her legs. She could hear in the distance the sound of horses' hoofs striking against the ground. The carriage was lurching away beneath the cover of the night. There was nowhere else for her to go. All she could do was stare at the wrought iron gates before her and the large, imposing house beyond. One moment, y'all. I need to check this real quick. Okay. Imposing house beyond. Bly. It was worlds apart from the girl's home in Liverpool, which she had this is Liverpool. Okay. Which she had shared for many years with her mother and two sisters. Three sisters now, given the recent birth of the youngest, Alice. Little Alice, but she would never be able to see Alice grow up. She swallowed, her throat convulsed. So, this was to be her new place of residence, but not her home. She could never call it her home. There was something horribly austere about the place, not helped by the sinister shadows that enveloped everything. The trees in the vast expansive garden were tall and skinny. They stood sentinel, their boughs waving in the breeze. Bly, with its crumbling walls and darkened windows, seemed like the kind of place that would have a ghost story or two. It had existed long enough, built in the early part of the 17th century, the girl had heard. How many ghosts lurked within those walls? Soon she would find out. Okay, where's the Yuri? Where's the Yuri? Her carpet bag was balanced in the crook of her arm. It was small and had a dent in the side, impossible to remove. She knew because she had tried. All her worldly belongings were stowed inside that single bag. A few sets of clothes, a hairbrush, an old battered volume of Robinson Crusoe. That was all. There were no toiletries, no jewelry, not even a second pair of shoes. She couldn't afford such luxuries. She was only a maid at Bly, working in the service of the Leonard family. She'd never met the Leonard family before, but the Pickerings' housekeeper, Miss Mary Ann, had told her they were not so very bad. There was the mistress, Lady Louisa Leonard, the husband, Lord Albert Leonard, who was often away on business trips, and then there was the sole daughter and the heir to the family fortune, Lady Constance Leonard. Oh, I have a feeling Constance is going to be our little lady friend, shall I say. She could handle that much, couldn't she? She hoped so. She drew in a deep breath. The cold air tugged at her hair and her skirts. Her fingers trembled. They were starting to turn blue. The wind seemed to suck the air out of her lungs. It felt like a cold hand was pressing against her larynx. She choked on her own breath. Her eyes stung. But she wouldn't cry. She'd already told herself she wouldn't. Instead, trying to gather what little scraps of self-confidence she still possessed. You can do this. There's no turning back now. Lorena Woe, only 19 years of age, clutched her bag to her chest and straightened her back. She wasn't one to back down from a challenge. Just how bad could Bly possibly be? Damn. Okay. Ebi Hime presents Blackberry Honey. Da, 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 da. Yo, what? Damn. Oh, never mind. Not Constance. Lol. The 16th of March. What's the day? Oh. Mm, uh, when Marina Wow opened her eyes, she was met with the same dismal sight that had greeted her every morning for the last 4 months. A grey ceiling peppered here and there with ominous cracks, heralding the inevitable day when it would one day collapse under its own weight. For the time being, however, this was where Lorena was to sleep. Her own bedroom in Bly. Not that it was her bedroom, of course. It was a small, tightly packed attic she shared with 5 of her fellow maids: Isabel, Pauline, Ada, Effie, and the Swiss-born Lieselit. The other maids were arising, stretching and yawning, complaining. Isabel and Pauline were the worst for it. They always complained. Lorena was supposed it was very English in a way, but she rather wished they wouldn't. Ugh, my head feels so thick. Must mean there's rain coming. It always bloody rains around here. Wouldn't be England without it. I like the rain. Good on you, Effie. Hmm. Oh, good. Good morning, Lorena. Lorena stretched and sat up in bed, the thin sheets pulled about her body. The sheets were stained and rarely offered any warmth, not even in the spring. Still, Lorena supposed it was better than nothing. Look on the bright side. That was what her mother would say. There's always a silver lining. Said silver lining being Lorena's fellow maid, Ada. Ada was rather young, only a year or so older than Lorena, and the two maids had formed something of an alliance. They were both the oldest sisters in large families, and they both worked in order to support their siblings. The only difference was Ada had 3 younger brothers. Lorena had 3 sisters. Good morning, Ada. Good. What's so good about it, exactly? It's just a figure of speech. I don't care what it is. It's blinking ridiculous. Here, does anybody want to wake up at 5 o'clock? Maybe masochists. I must be bloody masochistic, working here. My fingers are shot to pieces. They're shaking. I'll never be able to light the fires like this. Oh, don't talk about fires. I'm frigid. Last night was cold. You think that was cold? That was nothing compared to the winters in Andermatt. Oh, wait, this is a Swedish girl. Liselot. Uh, you think that was... No, that's German. Jävlar. Fitta. Fucking Swedish. You think that was cold? That was nothing compared to the winters in Andermatt. And in case you hadn't realized, Liselot, you're not in Switzerland anymore. It's Switzerland. God, I don't know Switzerland, so I'm just gonna do Swedish. Ah, yes. Oh, how I miss it. The sun rising over the Alps is truly a sight to behold. I wish you could all see it. That does sound rather lovely. They say the air in the Alps is very good for the circulation. I'm sure it would do your wonders. Do you really think so? Oh yes, I know so. Unfortunately, there are no Alps to behold here. Get your head out of the clouds, Doddy, or I'll shove it up a chimney. Ah ha 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 ha! You English women are so very witty. Witty was the last word Lorena would have used in conjunction with Isabel, but she decided to keep that to herself. With a small yawn, the young maid stretched her arms above her head. She was unsure what time it was exactly, but it must have been around 5 o'clock in the morning. Mornings came for the servants of Bly several hours earlier than they did for Lady Leonard and her privileged offspring, Lady Constance. Servants had to wake up at unforgiving hours before the sun had to rise. It was their lot in life to scuttle about soundlessly, creeping through the shadowy hallways, opening the shutters, polishing the fireplaces, dusting the mantelpieces, and so on and so forth. It never ended. From 5 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, the maids of Bly were fully occupied with their work. There was not a single moment where they could sit down and rest. Maybe it was why Isabel and Pauline, who had been maids for longer than the others, were so snappish and irritable. It didn't help that the head butler, Grant Lester, was such a stickler for the rules. He was incredibly strict, perhaps more so than Lady Leonard herself. Hey, Lorena. Pauline, who was already dressed, gave Lorena a disparaging look. Were you planning on getting dressed at some point, or are you just going to sit there? Uh, oh, um... Lorena scrambled to her feet, throwing the covers to one side. She had been so immersed in her idle blah 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 blah. As Pauline sniggered, so did Isabel. I'm sorry, I'm getting ready right away. Oh my. Wait. Wait.